Welcome to our channel. We are so glad you found your way here. Let us help you fall asleep. Let's begin with Fustuarium, the cudgeler's toll on the faithless Roman sentry. Take a slow, deep breath in and release it. Let the noise of today fall away as we step back, not just hours or years, but centuries, into the vast theater of crime and punishment in ancient Rome. If you genuinely like our videos, please hit like and subscribe. Fustuarium served as a devastating mechanism of discipline within the Roman military, reflecting the stringent expectations placed upon soldiers. This practice emerged in response to desertion and other forms of disloyalty, a betrayal deeply resented by the hierarchy. In a society where loyalty was paramount, the consequences were severe, often resulting in the execution of the faithless under the watchful gaze of their comrades. It was during the late Republic that Fustuarium became codified, illustrating how the military sought to maintain order and cohesion amid external threats and internal strife. The severity of the punishment acted as both a deterrent and a grim reminder of the consequences of failure. Soldiers understood that their survival depended not only on their own courage, but also on the unwavering fidelity of their peers. This approach to discipline was a reflection of broader societal values, where honor, duty, and the collective identity of Rome were intertwined. As such, the significance of Fustuarium transcended mere punishment. It encapsulated the intricate relationship between the individual and the state. This method of enforcement echoed through the ranks, reinforcing the bond among soldiers, while simultaneously instilling a pervasive atmosphere of fear. Within this framework, the Roman military thrived, adapting to meet the challenges of their time with an unwavering commitment to their principles. Fustuarium, a term rooted in the Latin word fustis, meaning cudgel or club, signifies a specific form of punishment within the Roman military. This method was employed against soldiers who demonstrated cowardice or desertion, emphasizing the severe consequences of failing to uphold one's duty. The act of Fustuarium was not merely punitive, but served as a stark reminder of the collective responsibility borne by each soldier. The etymology reveals a society that valued discipline and cohesion, where the integrity of the unit was paramount. In the harsh realities of combat, betrayal or retreat could spell disaster for entire legions. This punitive measure, then, reflects an understanding that individual actions could have far-reaching implications. The cudgel symbolized not only punishment, but also the weight of expectations placed upon every soldier, reinforcing a culture that prioritized valor and loyalty. In practice, Fustuarium could manifest through various methods, often resulting in death or severe physical punishment, reinforcing the seriousness with which the Roman military regarded the honor of the legions. Such actions served as a deterrent, ensuring that the specter of cowardice remained a powerful motivator among the ranks. The legacy of Fustuarium is interwoven with the broader narrative of military discipline, establishing a foundation for future codes of conduct within armed forces throughout history. The Roman sentry held a pivotal position within the military structure, serving as the first line of defense against potential threats. This role was characterized by vigilance and unwavering discipline, ensuring that the boundaries of the empire remained secure. Duties extended beyond mere observation. They included the responsibility for maintaining order and facilitating communication among troops. This constant alertness was essential, especially during times of unrest or impending conflict. Guarding strategic locations, sentries were often tasked with challenging approaching individuals, requiring both physical and mental fortitude. Their effectiveness depended on training that emphasized the importance of situational awareness and rapid response. Each sentry operated under strict guidelines, fostering a culture of accountability and responsibility within the ranks. The consequences of negligence could lead to severe repercussions, reinforcing the idea that each soldier's actions contributed to the greater stability of the empire. This commitment to duty created a sense of camaraderie among soldiers, reinforcing the interconnectedness of their roles. The presence of sentries deterred potential invaders and instilled confidence in the civilian population. The unwavering vigilance of these individuals was not merely a necessity for security, but a fundamental aspect of the Roman military ethos, reflecting the empire's dedication to discipline and order. Punishments within the Roman military served as both corrective measures and deterrents against infractions. These protocols reinforced the strict hierarchy and discipline essential for operational effectiveness. The penalties varied in severity, often dictated by the nature of the transgression. Minor offenses, such as neglecting duties or displaying insubordination, might result in fines or loss of privileges, while egregious violations warranted harsher consequences. In cases of dereliction of duty, a soldier could face severe repercussions, including flogging or, in extreme circumstances, execution. The Fustuarium, a form of punishment involving the use of clubs, targeted those deemed cowardly in battle. This method was particularly notorious, as it signified a collective determination to uphold bravery within the ranks. Such public displays of discipline reinforced loyalty among soldiers, instilling a shared sense of purpose and commitment to the empire. Executions, while rare, were reserved for those who endangered the lives of their fellow soldiers or betrayed the trust of their commander. This stark adherence to punitive measures underscored the Roman belief that maintaining order was paramount to the survival of the state. The psychological impact of these punishments extended beyond individual offenders, serving as a constant reminder of the consequences of failure within the disciplined structure of Roman military life. The legal framework surrounding Fustuarium was intricately woven into the fabric of military law. This system outlined specific regulations regarding conduct and discipline, creating an environment where accountability was paramount. Each soldier, aware of their responsibilities, faced repercussions that were codified, ensuring that expectations were clear. The scrutiny of commanders and peers alike fostered a culture where adherence to duty held great significance. In instances of dereliction, the Fustuarium acted as both a deterrent and a method of reinforcing orders. The process involved a collective decision among fellow soldiers, reinforcing camaraderie while simultaneously imposing a chilling sense of justice. This communal aspect highlighted the belief that each member's actions could directly impact the entire unit's effectiveness. Legal stipulations dictated the conditions under which this punishment would be enacted, emphasizing the need for due process even in the military sphere. Accusations required substantiation, ensuring that the gravity of such a sentence was reserved for truly egregious failures. Commanders wielding authority were expected to act judiciously, weighing the potential consequences of such punitive measures against the long-term morale of the troops. The ramifications of these laws influenced not only the immediate environment, but also the broader historical context of military discipline in Rome, shaping future interpretations of justice within the ranks. Historical accounts provide a glimpse into the application and impact of Fustuarium. Primary sources, such as ancient texts from historians like Livy and Tacitus, detail instances of punishment meted out to soldiers who faltered in their duties. These writings often reflect the attitudes of their time, revealing a prevailing belief in the necessity of rigid discipline to maintain order within the ranks. Such accounts are punctuated by anecdotes illustrating the consequences faced by those deemed faithless. Archaeological evidence complements these narratives, with artifacts uncovered at various military sites, shedding light on the practices surrounding Fustuarium. Remnants of weaponry, particularly cudgels and other implements associated with punishment, indicate the physicality of the enforcement. Inscriptions on stone tablets often reference disciplinary actions, serving as reminders of the consequences of failure. In addition to artifacts, the layout of fortifications and camps offers insights into military life and the emphasis on discipline. The strategic positioning of watchtowers and guard posts underlines the need for vigilance and adherence to duty. Each discovery adds to the understanding of how Fustuarium was not merely a tool of punishment, but a fundamental component of Roman military structure, echoing through the annals of history as a reflection of the values that underpinned the legions. Cultural attitudes towards discipline in the Roman army were deeply ingrained, reflecting a societal commitment to order, obedience, and collective strength. This ethos permeated every level of military life, instilling a sense of duty and loyalty among its ranks. The soldier, as an embodiment of Roman ideals, was expected to uphold these values, ensuring the integrity and effectiveness of the legion. Punishments, including the Fustuarium, served not only as deterrents but also as methods of instilling a sense of responsibility within the unit. The presence of strict discipline was a unifying force, reinforcing the belief that every soldier contributed to a larger purpose. The expectations placed upon individuals fostered a culture wherein personal failings were viewed as failures of the entire group. Leadership played a crucial role in maintaining this discipline. Commanders were tasked with enforcing regulations while also embodying the virtues expected of their men. Their actions set precedents, guiding behavior through both example and consequence. The collective memory of these practices shaped perceptions of honor and valor, elevating the status of disciplined soldiers within Roman society. The reverberations of these cultural attitudes can still be traced in the study of military history, revealing insight into the enduring legacy of Rome's martial traditions and the foundational importance of discipline in their success. The concept of faithfulness held a pivotal role within the Roman military code, serving as a cornerstone of loyalty to both leaders and the greater ideals of Rome. This adherence was not merely a personal choice, but a deeply ingrained obligation, reinforced through systematic training and the shared experiences of soldiers. Within this framework, faithfulness fostered a sense of unity, binding individuals to a collective purpose, while also establishing a hierarchy where expectations were clearly defined. The notion of loyalty manifested in various forms, from the unwavering obedience to commanders to the commitment towards fellow soldiers. Such loyalty ensured operational effectiveness during campaigns, as soldiers relied on one another amidst the chaos of battle. The repercussions of failing to uphold this tenet were severe, often resulting in punishments that highlighted the gravity of betrayal. The Fustuarium, a form of execution, stands as a grim reminder of the lengths to which the Roman military would go to maintain discipline and order. This strict adherence to faithfulness contributed significantly to the cohesion of legions, enabling them to function as a formidable force throughout their extensive conquest. The integration of personal honor with the collective ethos created an environment where the ideals of courage and integrity could flourish, shaping not only soldiers but also the very fabric of Roman identity itself. The psychological toll of such an execution method reverberated through the ranks, instilling a profound understanding of consequences among soldiers. This emphasis on collective responsibility transformed individual actions into reflections of communal honor. Fear of the Fustuarium served as a constant reminder that failure could lead to severe repercussions, not only for oneself, but also for one's fellow soldiers. Such an environment fostered a heightened sense of vigilance and accountability. Soldiers became acutely aware of their roles within the larger framework, understanding that their actions directly impacted the morale and fate of their comrades. The terror associated with the cudgel's execution method was not merely a deterrent, it also reinforced loyalty to the unit. This psychological conditioning created a paradox. While soldiers faced the potential of a violent end, they also experienced a binding camaraderie born from shared fear and collective purpose. Over time, many began to internalize the principles of duty and honor, leading to a unique psychological resilience. The threat of the Fustuarium did not simply intimidate, it cultivated a culture where bravery was lauded and cowardice was met with disdain. This duality of fear and loyalty, the rituals and procedures involved in administering Fustuarium, was steeped in a grim formality. This practice, reserved for those who had abandoned their posts, served as a stark reminder of the consequences of failure. The process began with the assembly of soldiers, each man aware of the gravity of the situation. It was not merely punishment, it was a demonstration of collective responsibility. Apprehended sentries would be brought forth, their faces betraying a mixture of dread and resignation. Surrounding them, fellow soldiers maintained an air of solemnity. The commanding officer, often a figure of grim authority, would announce the offense, articulating the breach of duty that had led to this moment. The weight of the accusation hung heavily in the air, a palpable tension that echoed through the ranks. The enactment of Fustuarium involved a gathering of the soldiers who would take up their cudgels. The rhythmic cadence of the strikes represented not only retribution but also the unity of the remaining sentries. Each blow was delivered with precision, a calculated reminder of the costs of disloyalty. Once the ritual concluded, silence would fall across the assembly. The remaining soldiers, still bound by their oath, understood the unyielding expectations placed upon them. In this region, the echoes of the past lingered, underscoring the inescapable nature of duty and consequence. Case studies reveal notable instances of Fustuarium within Roman military history. The practice emerged as a grim method of enforcing discipline among soldiers, particularly in moments of crisis. Instances of desertion during battles prompted swift retribution, often resulting in the execution of the faithless sentry. This method served to instill fear and ensure compliance among the ranks. One such case occurred during the siege of Jerusalem in the 1st century CE. Soldiers abandoning their posts faced immediate condemnation from their peers, exemplifying the harsh realities of military life. This decision was not taken lightly, as the repercussions extended beyond the individual, affecting unit cohesion and morale. Another significant example transpired during the campaigns of Julius Caesar in Gaul. Reports indicate that a sentry's negligence resulted in the loss of crucial intelligence. The subsequent trial revealed the meticulous nature of Roman justice, where soldiers underwent public scrutiny, and Fustuarium was invoked to restore order. In both examples, the methodical application of punishment reflected the broader societal values of the time. Loyalty and duty were paramount, with the penalty for failure serving as a stark reminder of the stakes involved. The enduring legacy of these instances underscores the complexities of discipline within the Roman military framework, illustrating a commitment to maintaining operational integrity. The ethos of Fustuarium extended beyond mere punishment, shaping the psyche of the Roman soldier. Such methods instilled a profound sense of accountability among ranks, fostering a culture where discipline was paramount. It served as a reminder that failure to uphold one's duties could lead to dire consequences, reinforcing a collective identity steeped in honor and vigilance. In this environment, camaraderie flourished as soldiers sought to uphold not only their own standards, but the expectations of their peers. The looming threat of Fustuarium often prompted individuals to adhere to protocols with heightened diligence. This phenomenon created a duality within the military structure. While fear of reprisal existed, it was coupled with a strong sense of loyalty and mutual reliance. The ramifications of these punitive measures rippled through the ranks, leading to a significant impact on unit cohesion. Soldiers understood that their actions directly influenced not only their fate, but also that of their comrades. This interconnectedness bred an atmosphere of shared responsibility where failure was collectively acknowledged and addressed. Discipline thus became an essential element of morale. The potential for Fustuarium influenced decision-making processes during moments of crisis, guiding soldiers to prioritize the well-being of the unit over individual desires. In this manner, the legacy of Fustuarium transcended punitive measures, contributing to the overall effectiveness of the Roman military machine. Commanders played a pivotal role in the enforcement of Fustuarium, acting as both enforcers and strategists within the military hierarchy. Their authority was crucial, as the application of such severe punishment required a tempered approach to maintain discipline while discouraging dissent among the ranks. This responsibility often placed them at the intersection of justice and morale, navigating the fine line between necessary harshness and the potential for discontent. In this environment, decision-making was essential. Commanders assessed each situation meticulously, weighing the severity of the offense against the repercussions of punishment. Their judgments often reflected not only the immediate need for discipline, but also long-term implications for unit cohesion. A commander's reputation hinged on their ability to balance discipline with leadership, ensuring that punitive measures did not erode loyalty or trust. The act of enforcing Fustuarium was not merely a reflection of individual commanders' philosophies, but also a systematic practice ingrained in military tradition. It served to remind all ranks of the consequences of failure and the unwavering commitment required of each soldier. These measures reinforced a collective identity, fostering a sense of responsibility that transcended individual actions. By instilling a culture of accountability, commanders preserved the integrity of the military structure while ensuring that the legacy of Fustuarium remained a powerful motivator within the ranks. And Fustuarium served as a potent deterrent against the act of desertion, influencing the behavior of soldiers within the Roman military. This punishment, characterized by its brutal nature, sent a clear signal regarding the consequences of abandoning one's post. Soldiers understood that the ramifications extended beyond personal accountability. They affected the cohesion and effectiveness of entire units. The threat of Fustuarium loomed large in the minds of those who might contemplate fleeing the battlefield. And this environment, the unwillingness to face such a severe penalty, reinforced loyalty and commitment among the ranks. The mere existence of this punishment fostered a culture of vigilance, where the potential for severe repercussions outweighed the desire for self-preservation. This reality created an atmosphere where each soldier felt an obligation to their comrades, reinforcing the importance of unity and collective responsibility. Military leaders recognized the psychological impact of Fustuarium, using it strategically during campaigns. By publicizing the punishments meted out to deserters, they aimed to instill fear and deterrence within the ranks. The effectiveness of this mechanism contributed to the overall stability of the military structure, ensuring that soldiers remained steadfast even in the face of adversity. Loyalty, forged through the threat of Fustuarium, became an essential component of Roman military identity, shaping the actions of countless soldiers throughout history. The cudgel, a simple yet effective instrument, served as both a tool of discipline and a symbol of authority within the Roman ranks. Constructed from durable wood, its design ensured that it was both lightweight and capable of delivering decisive punishment. Soldiers were trained in its use, instilling a sense of shared responsibility for maintaining order and discipline. This weapon, often carried by centurions, became an extension of their command, wielded against those deemed unworthy of their post. In moments of disobedience or cowardice, the cudgel's presence loomed large, a reminder of the consequences of straying from the path of loyalty. The mechanics behind its implementation were straightforward. A swift strike delivered the intended message, reinforcing the gravity of military conduct. Each blow was not merely punitive, but served to reinforce the collective identity of the legion, binding soldiers together in the shared understanding of the consequences of betrayal. As the sun cast long shadows across the training grounds, the sound of wood striking flesh echoed as a haunting reminder of the toll exacted on those who faltered. The practice of Fustuarium was not only a reflection of discipline, but also a methodical approach to maintaining cohesion in this harsh landscape. The cudgel symbolized the relentless pursuit of unwavering loyalty and the preservation of the Roman military ethos. Bruises and contusions marked the bodies of those subjected to the Fustuarium, evidence of the physical toll exacted by the cudgel's unforgiving strokes. Strikes to the upper arms and thighs were common, leading to significant swelling and pain. This punishment hindered movement, forcing the afflicted to adapt their gait, often resulting in further bodily strain. The impact of repeated blows created a lasting impression. As muscle fibers endured micro-tears from the sheer force applied, internal injuries were a risk, as the shockwave from a well-placed strike reverberated through the body, potentially causing damage to vital organs. In extreme cases, the relentless punishment could lead to fractures, leaving individuals unable to fulfill their duties. Pain became a constant companion, a reminder of failure and the harsh realities of military life. The psychological ramifications intertwined with these physical effects. Fear of the cudgel's retribution loomed large, instilling a sense of dread among the sentries. This fear, compounded by the visible scars borne by their comrades, served as a deterrent to disloyalty. The emotional weight, coupled with bodily harm, forged a complex relationship with authority, loyalty, and the consequences of betrayal. The socio-political ramifications of Fustuarium extended far beyond the battlefield, influencing the very fabric of Roman society. Within military ranks, this practice served as a grim reminder of the harsh penalties for failure or treachery. The threat of punishment loomed over those entrusted with the defense of the empire, fostering an environment steeped in fear and compliance. This pervasive atmosphere reinforced hierarchical structures, compelling soldiers to adhere strictly to orders and maintain unwavering loyalty to their commanders. Oesen Anshams and spectre of Fustuarium prompted discussions about justice and governance. The populace observed the brutality meted out to perceived traitors, which often stirred debate over the ethics of such measures. This scrutiny led to a growing demand for accountability among military leaders, as citizens sought to ensure that authority was exercised with a measure of fairness. Over time, the practice contributed to a culture of mistrust, as individuals began questioning the motives behind punitive actions. Within the Senate, the implications of Fustuarium sparked legislative initiatives aimed at reforming military conduct and protecting the rights of soldiers. As political factions emerged, the discourse surrounding loyalty and punishment became a focal point of contention. The focus on loyalty and punishment invites a comparison with other ancient punitive measures. The Roman practice of Fustuarium, involving the brutal execution of a soldier by his peers, stands distinct yet shares thematic elements with various forms of corporal punishment found in ancient cultures. In ancient Greece, for example, the city-state of Sparta employed a method known as the cryptia, where young men were tasked with executing helots suspected of disloyalty. This ritualized violence served not only as punishment, but also reinforced societal cohesion through fear. In contrast, the Fustuarium was often a public spectacle designed to uphold discipline among troops through shared accountability. It functioned more as a reflection of military hierarchy than as a societal norm, emphasizing the gravity of betrayal within the ranks. This communal involvement created a powerful deterrent, unlike the more individualistic nature of punishments seen in other civilizations. Similarly, the Assyrian Empire utilized impalement as a means of instilling terror in both enemies and subjects. While the execution methods differed, the underlying principle, maintaining power through fear, remained consistent across cultures. Such comparisons illuminate the broad spectrum of punitive practices and the diverse philosophical underpinnings that shaped them, providing insight into the ancient world's complex relationship with loyalty, betrayal, and the harsh realities of obedience. The evolution of military discipline from the Republic to the Empire reflects a profound transformation in governance and societal values. Initially, during the Republican era, discipline was enforced through collective responsibility. Soldiers operated under a system where camaraderie and mutual accountability played crucial roles. The consequences of failure extended beyond the individual, impacting entire units, promoting a strong sense of loyalty and cohesion. As the empire emerged, the structure shifted towards centralized authority, with an increasing emphasis on absolute obedience to command. The introduction of more formalized ranks and strict hierarchies altered the dynamics of military life. This period witnessed the emergence of draconian measures to ensure compliance, with punishments becoming more severe and systematic. The military utilized public examples of discipline to instill fear and deter insubordination. In this environment, the relationship between the soldier and the state transformed significantly. Loyalty became not just a virtue, but an expectation tied to survival. The repercussions of disloyalty grew harsher as the state sought to maintain order amid expanding borders and complex geopolitical challenges. The imposition of rigid codes of conduct reflected a society grappling with its identity amidst growth, conquest, and the ever-present specter of rebellion. The face of military discipline thus morphed from communal responsibility to a tool of centralized power, shaping the legacies of both soldier and state. The Fustuarium served as a stark reflection of Roman legal practices, intertwining military law with the broader judicial framework of the empire. It demonstrated how the actions of individuals could lead to severe repercussions, emphasizing the importance of obedience and order within the ranks. Such discipline ensured that a singular standard governed behavior, deterring dissent and promoting a unified front. In this context, the Fustuarium was not merely a punishment, but a method to reinforce the legal expectations placed upon soldiers. The ramifications of insubordination extended beyond the immediate act, embedding itself within the collective memory of the legion. This system bore witness to the intertwining of military authority and civil law, where the consequences of failure could resonate through both spheres. The procedure often invoked by commanding officers highlighted this intersection. Accused soldiers faced swift judgment, culminating in the very public demonstration of power, signifying the consequences of betrayal or cowardice. This practice, while brutal, served a dual purpose. It punished the individual, while simultaneously instilling a sense of fear among the ranks, ensuring adherence to the prevailing legal codes. Consequently, the Fustuarium encapsulated the Roman ethos, where law and military might converged, shaping both the soldier's fate and the integrity of the state itself. The enforcement of Fustuarium served as a mechanism for maintaining order within the ranks. It established a clear and unwavering standard for behavior among soldiers, dictating that any failure to adhere to the principles of duty would result in severe repercussion. This doctrine was particularly significant in the context of a military environment where cohesion and discipline were vital for operational success. Amidst instances of desertion or cowardice were met with punitive measures, reinforcing a culture of accountability. Soldiers understood that their actions reflected on their comrades, fostering a sense of shared responsibility. The specter of Fustuarium ensured that loyalty was not merely an expectation, but a fundamental tenet of service. The repercussions were harsh, often involving execution or severe corporal punishment, designed to instill fear, yet also to serve as a stark reminder of the consequences of betrayal. Such measures were not arbitrary, they were part of a calculated effort to uphold the integrity of the military forces. The presence of this doctrine shaped interpersonal dynamics among soldiers, promoting a collective mindset focused on mutual defense and honor. In a time when the integrity of the state was paramount, the Fustuarium emerged as a critical tool, binding the soldiers to their duties and to each other, ensuring the stability of the Roman military structure. Perceptions of justice and injustice surrounding the Fustuarium varied widely among soldiers and civilians alike. For some, it represented a necessary mechanism to uphold discipline and maintain order within the ranks. The potential for severe punishment served as a deterrent against cowardice, reinforcing loyalty to both comrades and the empire. This bond, forged through fear and respect, contributed to the efficient functioning of the military, often enabling the Roman legions to achieve remarkable feats of conquest and defense. Conversely, dissenting voices emerged from those who viewed the Fustuarium as a manifestation of brutality. The severity of the punishment could be seen as excessive, particularly when enacted upon soldiers who may have faced life-threatening circumstances beyond their control. Misunderstandings or misjudgments could lead to a fate far worse than the original act of perceived cowardice. These sentiments often echoed through the ranks, fostering an atmosphere of apprehension rather than solidarity. Rumors circulated regarding the arbitrary nature of certain judgments, with commanders sometimes wielding their authority with little regard for fairness. This inconsistency sparked debates about morality and ethics within military culture, leading to divisions among the ranks. In time, the Fustuarium became not just a tool of punishment, but also a focal point for discussions about justice, duty, and the human experience within the unforgiving landscape of war. And the centurion, a pivotal figure in the Roman military hierarchy, bore the responsibility of enforcing discipline among the ranks. This role encompassed not only leadership, but also the grim duty of administering the Fustuarium, a measure of last resort. In moments of perceived cowardice or dereliction of duty, the centurion's judgment determined the fate of the accused. They surveyed the soldiers with a keen eye, weighing their actions against the rigid codes of conduct that defined the legion. When a soldier faltered, the centurion's decision to invoke the Fustuarium could resonate throughout the unit, instilling a profound sense of fear and adherence to protocol. The act was never undertaken lightly. It reflected the harsh realities of military life, where survival depended on unwavering commitment and courage. This implementation served a dual purpose. It acted as a deterrent against potential insubordination, while simultaneously reinforcing the ideals of loyalty and honor intrinsic to Roman society. The centurion's role was thus intertwined with the very fabric of military discipline, ensuring that soldiers remained vigilant guardians of their duty. The echoes of the cudgel, wielded in the name of justice, became part of the collective memory of the encampment, a constant reminder of the cost of failure amidst the uncertainties of war. Women stood at the periphery of military discipline, their roles often relegated to the domestic sphere, yet intricately woven into the fabric of the encampment's life. While the cudgel served as a tool for punishing male soldiers, the question arises regarding the extent of its application to women within these turbulent environments. Historical accounts suggest a nuanced reality, where women, although not formally enlisted, could face repercussions for various infractions. These infractions ranged from failing to uphold the standards expected of camp followers, to more severe transgressions that threatened the cohesion of the group. Punitive measures were not always physical. Ostracism could serve as a powerful deterrent, wielding social consequences as effectively as the cudgel itself. It is recorded that certain women, particularly those who engaged in illicit relationships with soldiers, could find themselves subjected to rough treatment, although this often took the form of community shaming rather than direct violence. And in certain circumstances, women who assumed more prominent roles, such as those tasked with caring for the wounded or managing supplies, gained a semblance of authority. Their actions could influence decisions regarding discipline, even if they were not the direct recipients of the cudgel's force. This complex interplay illustrates how the dynamics of gender shaped the experiences of all individuals within the encampment, creating a hierarchy that often defied simple categorizations. The Fustuarium, a form of punishment primarily reserved for soldiers, underscores the stringent expectations tied to Roman citizenship. It served as a stark reminder of the consequences of failure within a military structure that valued discipline above all. This method of execution, often carried out in front of fellow troops, emphasized the communal aspect of shame and accountability, resonating deeply throughout the ranks. Those subjected to its grim resolution faced not only physical retribution, but also the irrevocable loss of status, stripping them of their rights as citizens. Citizenship in ancient Rome was a coveted privilege, associated with a myriad of legal protections and societal expectations. The Fustuarium, therefore, represented a perverse inversion of this honor, illustrating how one's standing could be dismantled in an instant. It was a mechanism that maintained order, reinforcing loyalty among the ranks, while simultaneously instilling fear. The act of punishment served to reaffirm the bonds of citizenship among those who remained loyal, creating an unspoken pact between the faithful and the unforgiving nature of military life. In this context, the relationship between Fustuarium and citizenship reveals the delicate balance between individual agency and communal obligation. The execution not only punished the errant soldier, but also functioned to strengthen the resolve of those who witnessed, shaping their understanding of what it meant to belong to the Roman state. Fustuarium served as a stark reminder of the severe consequences of military failure within the Roman ranks. In the broader context of punitive measures, this form of execution highlighted the rigorous discipline expected from soldiers. The Roman military maintained an unwavering focus on order and loyalty, with penalties often designed to deter any semblance of insubordination. These severe practices were not unique. They reflected a systematic approach to governance, where the stability of the state hinged on the unwavering commitment of its soldiers. Other methods of punishment, such as decimation, further exemplified the lengths to which commanders would go to maintain control. Decimation involved the random selection of one soldier out of every 10 for execution, reinforcing a culture of fear intended to promote cohesion among troops. In contrast, Fustuarium targeted individual failings, a method that underscored personal accountability within the collective. This region of military justice fostered an environment where the threat of death loomed heavily over any soldier who might falter. Such measures were not merely punitive, but also served as an essential mechanism for reinforcing loyalty and discipline, ensuring that the state could function effectively amidst the chaos of war. Consequently, the impact of Fustuarium extended beyond the individual to shape the very structure of military society, embedding a profound sense of duty within the heart of the Roman legions. The aftermath of Fustuarium often presented a complex landscape of rehabilitation and stigmatization. For many who survived the brutal punishment, a path to reintegration into military ranks was fraught with challenges. The scars, both physical and psychological, served as constant reminders of their perceived failure. This region of the military culture fostered an environment where such marks could lead to exclusion, further isolating those who had already faced the dire consequences of their actions. Beneath the surface of camaraderie, a dichotomy emerged. Some within the legions offered support, understanding the potential for redemption through acts of valor. This was a realm where loyalty and honor could overshadow past transgressions, allowing for a gradual return to acceptance. Yet, these instances were not universal. Many individuals bore the weight of suspicion, their past lingering like a shadow, casting doubt on their loyalty and commitment. In the minds of the soldiers, this tension could manifest in various ways. Those who had endured Fustuarium often grappled with their identity, navigating a fine line between redemption and the stigma attached to their punishment. The collective memory of the legions absorbed these narratives, intertwining the stories of those who faltered with the ideals of duty and sacrifice. Regional variations in the implementation of Fustuarium reveal a complex relationship between local customs and military discipline. Different provinces exhibited distinct approaches, reflecting societal values and attitudes toward authority. In the harsh landscapes of Germania, for instance, the practice often served as a tool for instilling fear and maintaining order among troops. The cold, unforgiving environment mirrored the rigidity of its enforcement, where an errant sentry faced swift and severe consequences, exemplifying the unforgiving nature of both nature and command. Contrastingly, in the more temperate regions of Hispania, the application of Fustuarium was tempered by a cultural emphasis on honor and redemption. The process often included opportunities for the accused to defend their actions, thereby fostering a sense of communal responsibility. This flexibility allowed for a nuanced understanding of loyalty and failure, reinforcing bonds among soldiers while still asserting the importance of vigilance. In the eastern provinces, the influence of local traditions further complicated military practices. Here, the Fustuarium could be seen as a reflection of local governance, incorporating elements of popular justice. Such adaptations shifted the focus from mere punishment to a collective reaffirmation of values, emphasizing solidarity within the ranks. Through these variations, the legacy of Fustuarium illustrates the intricate interplay between military discipline and the diverse cultures that formed the Roman Empire. Roman poetry and prose frequently capture the essence of Fustuarium, offering insights into its societal implications. Poets of the time employed this form of punishment as a symbol of discipline, embedding it within narratives that reflect the values of loyalty and order. In various works, it serves as a cautionary tale, illustrating the severe consequences faced by those who wavered in their duty. These literary depictions often evoke a sense of moral obligation, reinforcing the expectations placed upon soldiers within the military hierarchy. Now, in prose, historians provide accounts that reinforce the gravity of Fustuarium, detailing instances where the punishment was enacted. This not only serves to document the practice, but also portrays the prevailing attitudes towards discipline and loyalty in the Roman military. The starkness of these narratives underlines the harsh realities faced by those who faltered in their commitment to their comrades and their state. Such accounts contribute to the broader understanding of the Roman ethos, highlighting the ways in which Fustuarium functioned within the larger framework of societal values. The intertwining of literary representation with historical fact creates a multidimensional portrait of this punitive measure. As a result, it becomes evident that these stories reflect not merely punishment, but also the profound cultural significance attributed to loyalty and discipline within the Roman Empire. The Senate played a crucial role in establishing and regulating military discipline, ensuring that loyalty and adherence to orders were paramount among the ranks. It was within these hallowed chambers that laws were crafted, outlining the expectations of conduct for soldiers. Disciplinary measures, such as the Fustuarium, were codified to maintain order and tier descent, emphasizing that failure to comply with directives could lead to severe consequences. Military commanders, often reliant on Senate decrees, found themselves navigating a complex web of regulations designed to uphold the integrity of the army. Directives issued by the Senate could dictate everything from the conduct of troops during peacetime to the stringent requirements during times of war. These regulations served as a reflection of the Senate's broader authority, reinforcing the idea that military success was inherently linked to the unwavering loyalty of its soldiers. In this environment, the consequences of misconduct were not merely personal. They resonated throughout the ranks, affecting morale and unit cohesion. The Senate's involvement ensured that discipline was not left to individual commanders, fostering a standardized approach to maintaining order. This regulation extended beyond mere enforcement. It encapsulated the values and expectations of Roman society itself. Each decree, every punishment, contributed to a legacy that sought to intertwine military effectiveness with the ideals of duty and honor. The imposition of Fustuarium introduced a calculated method of discipline within military ranks. This system was not merely punitive, it functioned as a strategic tool designed to maintain cohesion among soldiers. The consequences of failure or betrayal reinforced a culture of accountability, compelling individuals to adhere to their responsibilities with unwavering resolve. In this environment, the threat of communal retribution loomed large, serving to strengthen unit integrity. They understood that the risk of punishment extended beyond personal consequences. The potential for collective penalties ensured that comrades would monitor one another's conduct closely, fostering an atmosphere of vigilance and mutual support. Military strategy evolved with this ingrained sense of duty. Leaders began to leverage the principles behind Fustuarium to instill a deeper commitment to the mission and to the wider ideals of the Roman state. Tactical formations and approaches were designed not only for effectiveness in combat, but also to emphasize the importance of loyalty and discipline. The effectiveness of these strategies became evident in various campaigns, where cohesive units demonstrated higher success rates. The threat of Fustuarium transformed into a psychological advantage, deterring potential insubordination and fostering a robust military ethos. This profound interplay between punishment and strategy, the psychological condition of soldiers facing Fustuarium, reflects a profound struggle between loyalty and fear. Each sentry, aware of the imminent repercussions of failure, grapples with the weight of expectations placed upon them. This tension creates a pervasive atmosphere of anxiety, as the very notion of punishment looms large over their daily existence. The uncertainty of fate transforms ordinary duties into a minefield of mental strain, driving many to question their resolve and commitment to the legion. Within this context, the pressure intensifies, leading to a heightened sense of paranoia. Sentries begin to scrutinize the actions of their comrades, suspecting betrayal or incompetence at every turn. This mistrust cultivates an environment where camaraderie deteriorates, replaced by an unyielding desire for self-preservation. The fear of facing the cudgel not only isolates individuals, but also fragments the unity essential for military effectiveness. As the threat of Fustuarium hangs like a shadow, soldiers may resort to coping mechanisms, both constructive and destructive. Some might seek solace in shared experiences, while others succumb to despair, withdrawing into themselves. These divergent paths highlight the complex responses to the harsh realities of military life. The psychological toll of such a brutal system, the intersection of religion and military punishment in Rome, reveals a complex relationship between faith and discipline. Soldiers, bound by oaths to both their commanders and the deities they worshipped, faced severe consequences for transgressions. This duality shaped their experiences, as beliefs often clashed with the harsh realities of military life. Punishments like the Fustuarium were not merely disciplinary measures. They resonated deeply with the spiritual fabric of Roman society. Ritualistic elements were woven into these punitive actions. The act of execution was often accompanied by religious ceremonies designed to appease the gods, ensuring that the spirit of the deceased would find peace. This interplay underscored the belief that divine favor was essential for military success. Soldiers understood that their actions, both virtuous and vile, would be scrutinized by higher powers. The consequences of failing to uphold discipline extended beyond individual punishment. They threatened the cohesion of the military unit and, by extension, the very stability of the Roman state. This region thrived on order, reverence, and an unwavering commitment to duty. As such, the enforcement of military law, coupled with religious observance, reinforced the notion that loyalty to the empire was synonymous with fidelity to the divine. In these contexts, faith served as both a guiding principle and a source of fear, encapsulating the complexities of loyalty within the Roman military. The implementation of Fustuarium as a disciplinary measure significantly impacted unit cohesion within the Roman legions. When a soldier faced execution by cudgel for desertion or cowardice, the ramifications extended beyond the individual. This act of punishment echoed throughout the ranks, instilling a profound sense of accountability among comrades. The threat of collective punishment loomed, creating an environment where each soldier's actions directly influenced the safety and reputation of their unit. In these moments, the unwavering gaze of fellow soldiers often transformed into a potent force, urging individuals to adhere strictly to the tenets of duty and bravery. Such measures ensured that bonds between soldiers were fortified, as shared experiences of discipline and hardship cultivated a unified front. The fear of Fustuarium served not only to deter desertion, but also to encourage a culture of mutual support and vigilance. The psychological weight of this enforcement mechanism could be palpable, with soldiers aware that their fates were intertwined. This dynamic effectively transformed individual motivations into collective resolve, as the desire for survival and honor merged into a singular objective. In a society where loyalty was paramount, Fustuarium exemplified a harsh yet effective strategy that underscored the delicate balance between fear and allegiance. The enforcement of Fustuarium revealed a complex relationship between honor and discipline within Roman society. Honor was not merely an abstract concept. It shaped the identity of soldiers, underpinning their actions and decisions on the battlefield. When a sentry failed in their duty, the repercussions were severe. This punishment served not only as a deterrent, but also as a means to restore collective honor among troops. Each act of betrayal or negligence was viewed through the lens of collective shame. In this region, the swift and brutal nature of Fustuarium ensured that the bonds of camaraderie remained intact. The threatened consequences of failure reinforced a soldier's commitment to their comrades and the greater mission. Loyalty was intertwined with personal and collective honor, fostering a culture where the fear of punishment could inspire unwavering allegiance. The rituals surrounding Fustuarium also highlighted its role in reinforcing societal values. Public executions were not merely punitive, they were demonstrations of the seriousness with which honor was held. Witnessed by fellow soldiers, these events served as stark reminders of the expectations placed upon each individual in the harsh environment of warfare, where survival depended on trust and reliability. The Fustuarium functioned as both a tool of enforcement and a means of preserving the integrity of the legion. Each life lost in this manner contributed to an enduring legacy of discipline within the Roman military ethos. The administration of Fustuarium often unfolded as a public spectacle, designed to reinforce the power of authority and the weight of discipline. This practice served not only as a punishment for the faithless, but also as a stark reminder to the ranks of the consequences of failing their duties. Crowds gathered, drawn by the gravity of the event, witnessing a ritual that transcended mere punishment, creating an atmosphere thick with tension and expectation. The execution of Fustuarium was not conducted in secrecy. It was performed in the presence of fellow soldiers who bore witness to the repercussions of betrayal. This visibility transformed the act into a communal experience, reinforcing social norms within the unit. The sight of a comrade meting out punishment echoed the tenets of loyalty and bravery, embedding them deeper into the collective consciousness of the Legion. Witnessing the consequence of dereliction served as a deterrent, instilling fear and reverence within the ranks. Such events reminded soldiers of their obligations to each other, their loyalty to the Empire, and the unyielding standards expected of them. The brutality of the Fustuarium, coupled with its public demonstration, forged a bond among those who remained steadfast, shaping their identities and fortifying their resolve in the face of adversity. This ritualistic enforcement of discipline became a cornerstone of military cohesion. Ethical considerations surrounding Fustuarium evoke significant debate within the historical context of Roman military practices. The consequences of such punitive measures highlight an intricate relationship between discipline and morality. On one hand, the preservation of unit integrity and the deterrence of insubordination were paramount in the face of external threats. This region, steeped in martial tradition, witnessed commanders grappling with the balance between maintaining order and upholding humane standards of conduct. Arguments against the practice emphasized the psychological toll it inflicted upon soldiers. The fear of brutal punishment could lead to an atmosphere of dread, undermining the very loyalty and camaraderie that military leaders sought to cultivate. Soldiers, reduced to tools of obedience, often faced moral dilemmas that questioned their own values and ethics. The act of inflicting violence upon fellow soldiers, even as a means of fostering discipline, raised profound moral questions about the nature of authority and justice within the ranks. These ruins of a once mighty empire serve as a reminder of the complexities woven into the fabric of military life. The fading company of sentries, once resolute in their duty, grappled with the implications of their loyalty. The dialectic between necessity and morality remains a pivotal consideration in understanding the enduring legacy of Fustuarium within the annals of military history. Roman expansionism transformed vast territories, shaping both the empire's geography and its military ethos. This region witnessed the rigorous enforcement of discipline among the ranks, where the consequences of failure were often severe. The practice of Fustuarium was not merely a punitive measure, it served as a stark reminder of the responsibilities entrusted to each sentry. Failure to uphold their duties could precipitate dire consequences, effectively reinforcing the necessity of unwavering vigilance. Troops stationed at the borders were acutely aware of the implications of neglect in the face of external threats. The potential for disorder was a constant specter looming over them. The physical act of punishment, administered through the cudgel, resonated with the collective psyche of the military unit. It underscored the expectation of absolute loyalty and commitment to the empire's ambitions. While expansionism sought to unify diverse cultures under Roman rule, it also imposed a rigid code of conduct, exemplified by these harsh practices. The legacy of Fustuarium thus intertwines with the broader narrative of conquest and governance. At the heart of this approach lay a belief in the necessity of discipline, ensuring that the ambitions of the empire could be realized without faltering in the face of adversity. The echoes of this practice linger, revealing the relentless pursuit of order amidst the vast complexities of imperial governance. The influence of Fustuarium extended far beyond its immediate application. shaping military practices in subsequent centuries. This method of punishment instilled a profound sense of discipline, impacting the training regimens of future armies. The threat of harsh consequences motivated soldiers to adhere strictly to protocols, ensuring operational effectiveness in times of conflict. Training techniques evolved, incorporating elements of accountability that mirrored the rigors of Fustuarium, reinforcing a soldier's commitment to duty. Commanders recognized the necessity of maintaining order within ranks, leading to the establishment of structured systems of discipline that persisted through various cultures and eras. In regions once governed by the Romans, military leaders adopted these disciplinary measures, adapting them to fit their own contexts. The stark reminder of Fustuarium as consequences served as a cautionary tale, deterring insubordination and fostering loyalty among troops. Individual valor was often celebrated, yet the overarching principle remained: unity and obedience were paramount for the success of any military endeavor. Echoes of this practice resonated through medieval armies, where punishments for dereliction of duty became increasingly codified. The gravity of consequences shaped not only the behavior of soldiers, but also the very ethos of military service. Such legacies can still be traced in contemporary military doctrines, underscoring the lasting impact of Fustuarium on the evolution of military practices throughout history. The cudgel served as a significant emblem within Roman culture, representing not only punishment but also authority and the harsh realities of military life. Its weight and form encapsulated the power wielded by commanding officers, serving as a reminder of the consequences faced by those who faltered in their duties. This instrument of discipline resonated throughout the ranks, instilling a sense of order amidst the chaos of warfare. The simplicity of the cudgel belied its profound implications, symbolizing the duality of protection and retribution. For the faithful soldier, it represented the unwavering commitment to duty, embodying the potential for glory and honor. Conversely, for the faithless, it illustrated the grim reality of failure, a tangible reminder of the harsh repercussions that awaited those who deviated from their obligations. In various artistic representations, the cudgel often appeared alongside depictions of valor and sacrifice, reinforcing its role within the broader narrative of Roman identity. The presence of this object in military iconography served to solidify ideals of discipline and perseverance. It echoed through the annals of Roman history, a constant reminder of the societal expectations placed upon those who served. The cudgel's place in the cultural consciousness reflected a civilization that valued strength, accountability, and the unyielding pursuit of excellence in all facets of life. Exploration of the Fustuarium reveals stark contrasts with contemporary military disciplinary practices. In ancient Rome, the cudgel served as a physical manifestation of authority, where punishment was often public and immediate. This method instilled a sense of fear but also adherence within ranks, ensuring that soldiers were acutely aware of the consequences of their actions. It compelled compliance through a combination of respect for tradition and the omnipresence of power. Present-day military discipline operates within a framework emphasizing rehabilitation and psychological evaluation. The focus has shifted from physical punishment to structured corrective measures designed to address behavior through comprehensive training and psychological support. This evolution reflects a broader societal understanding of human behavior and mental health, prioritizing long-term effectiveness over immediate deterrence. The cultural underpinnings of these practices differ significantly. While the Fustuarium underscored a rigid hierarchical structure and a warrior ethos that valorized punishment, modern practices seek to cultivate a sense of camaraderie and mutual respect among service members. Accountability remains crucial, yet it manifests through methods designed to reinforce unity rather than instill fear. This transformation highlights a fundamental shift in the understanding of leadership, where empowerment and discipline coexist, illustrating the complexities of military effectiveness across time. The contrast, the role of Fustuarium in shaping military leadership styles, reflects a complex relationship between discipline and authority. This form of punishment, reserved for serious breaches of conduct, served as a stark reminder of the consequences of failure. Leaders in the Roman military wielded this tool not merely to instill fear, but to cultivate a culture of accountability among their ranks. It became an essential aspect of leadership training, emphasizing the need for unwavering commitment to duty. Such a practice influenced how commanders engaged with their soldiers. The threat of Fustuarium necessitated a balance between strict adherence to rules and fostering loyalty. Leaders were tasked with maintaining discipline while also inspiring confidence. The fear of punitive measures was tempered by the understanding that effective leaders protected their men from the harshest outcomes. Within this framework, the military hierarchy was reinforced. Commanders who exercised Fustuarium judiciously were often respected, viewed as guardians of discipline rather than mere enforcers of punishment. This dynamic invited a deeper examination of leadership philosophy, where compassion could coexist with the demand for order. Archaeological discoveries related to the Fustuarium reveal insights into the disciplinary practices of ancient Rome. Excavations at various military sites have uncovered evidence of this punishment, often taking the form of stone tablets inscribed with regulations and directives. These artifacts highlight the structured nature of military conduct and the expectations placed upon sentries. In some instances, remnants of weaponry have been unearthed alongside the inscriptions, suggesting a direct link between the tools of enforcement and the punitive measures employed. The presence of cudgels, which were traditionally used in the execution of the Fustuarium, reinforces the severity of this practice. Further analysis of skeletal remains from soldiers indicates trauma consistent with blunt force injuries, supporting historical accounts of the Fustuarium's application. These findings contribute to a broader understanding of military discipline and the psychological impact on both perpetrators and victims. The locations of these discoveries often correspond with strategic military outposts, underscoring the significance of maintaining order in remote regions. Each site presents a narrative of resilience and fear, revealing the complexities of loyalty and obedience. The interplay between authority and shared human experience becomes evident, offering a glimpse into the moral fabric that guided Roman soldiers. The consequences of Fustuarium extended beyond immediate punishment, influencing recruitment and retention within the Roman army. The severity of this disciplinary measure often deterred potential recruits who weighed the risks of joining a military system known for its rigid adherence to consequences. This perception shaped the demographics of enlistment, attracting individuals with a strong sense of duty and discipline, while simultaneously discouraging those inclined towards a more lenient environment. Retention rates were similarly affected. The looming threat of Fustuarium acted as both a deterrent and a binding force, instilling a sense of camaraderie among soldiers committed to one another's success. Loyalty became paramount, as the understanding of collective responsibility fostered a stronger bond within the ranks. Soldiers were less likely to abandon their posts when cognizant of the repercussions that awaited their comrades. Instances of Fustuarium served as stark reminders of the consequences of failure. The concept of Fustuarium permeated the psyche of Roman soldiers, intertwining duty with the harsh realities of sacrifice. Enforced as a disciplinary measure, this practice invoked a sense of collective accountability among the ranks. When a sentry faltered, the repercussions extended beyond the individual, implicating their fellow soldiers. This collective punishment reinforced the idea that each soldier's actions bore weight on the entire unit's integrity. In this environment, sacrifice became a cornerstone of military ethos. Soldiers were conditioned to accept personal loss as an integral part of their service. The threat of Fustuarium loomed as a grim reminder that failure to adhere to duty not only endangered personal safety, but also jeopardized the lives of comrades. This cultural paradigm instilled an unwavering resolve to defend one another, fostering a sense of loyalty that transcended individual fears. The physical act of Fustuarium, often executed with the very instruments of war, underscored the brutal realities of Roman discipline. It served as both a deterrent and a grim reminder of the price of failure. The imagery of soldiers uniting in the face of such dire consequences painted a portrait of a society that valued order and loyalty above all. Each execution resonated deeply within the ranks, shaping a legacy of sacrifice that defined the Roman military experience. Fustuarium's implementation served as a stark reminder of the consequences of failure, integrating seamlessly into military training regimens. This practice reinforced the profound connection between discipline and survival. Soldiers were trained not only in combat techniques but also in the psychological preparedness required to maintain order within their ranks. The constant threat of Fustuarium instilled a sense of urgency and commitment, ensuring that each sentry understood the weight of their responsibilities. Training sessions often included rigorous drills, emphasizing obedience and tactical proficiency. Repeated exercises in formations and maneuvers mirrored the expectations faced on the battlefield. As soldiers practiced, the looming specter of Fustuarium provided an unspoken incentive to perfect their skills. The fear of the cudgel's toll acted as a catalyst, binding the troops together in a collective determination to uphold their duties. In these training environments, camaraderie flourished, with soldiers relying on one another for support and accountability. The shared understanding of the potential repercussions fostered a unique bond, reinforcing the principle that every individual's actions contributed to the collective fate of the unit. This intricate relationship between Fustuarium and military training not only shaped individual soldiers, but also forged a cohesive and resilient military force, prepared to face the challenges of warfare with unwavering resolve. The legal implications of Fustuarium extend beyond mere military discipline into the broader context of Roman law. This practice, initially a means of enforcing accountability among soldiers, soon gained recognition as an essential component of legal reforms. It served as a reflection of societal values, emphasizing the importance of duty and loyalty within the ranks. The institution of Fustuarium underscored the belief that failure to uphold these ideals warranted severe consequences, thus reinforcing the social contract between the soldier and the state. An's region, the legal framework surrounding Fustuarium was often debated in the Senate, where lawmakers recognized the necessity of maintaining order within the military. By formalizing the consequences of dereliction, they aimed to deter negligence and insubordination among troops. The punishment itself, while brutal, was intended as a collective measure rather than solely punitive. It aimed to instill a sense of shared responsibility among soldiers. These reforms highlighted the Roman approach to governance, intertwining military discipline with legal structures. The codification of such practices ensured that the principles underlying Fustuarium reached beyond the battlefield, permeating civilian life. This relationship between military law and broader legal reforms exemplified the complexities of Roman society and its efforts to balance discipline with justice, shaping a legacy that would influence future generations. The mechanisms of informants and accusers became integral to the enforcement of Fustuarium. Individuals within the ranks, often driven by personal motivations or a sense of duty, served as the eyes and ears of the military hierarchy. Their testimonies could determine the fate of a soldier accused of dereliction or cowardice. This shadowy network of informants created an environment where loyalty was constantly scrutinized, and trust was a rare commodity. Accusations often arose from competitive rivalries or personal grievances, complicating the pursuit of justice. With the stakes so high, the motivations behind reports could fluctuate between altruism and malice. Such dynamics led to a precarious situation where the line between truth and deception blurred. Legal proceedings surrounding Fustuarium cases relied heavily on these testimonials, often leaving the accused vulnerable to the whims of those who wielded power. The process was devoid of the safeguards that modern legal systems employ, raising questions about fairness and impartiality. When the verdict was rendered, punishment was swift and severe. The cudgel became a symbol not only of discipline but a harbinger of dread among soldiers. This culture of fear reinforced the prevailing norms, dictating behavior and deterring acts deemed as betrayals against their comrades and their duty to Rome. The transition from Fustuarium to other forms of military punishment marked a significant evolution in the Roman military's approach to discipline. While Fustuarium served as a brutal reminder of the consequences of failure or betrayal, alternative methods emerged to address insubordination and maintain order. It became evident that a spectrum of punishments was necessary to cater to various offenses and circumstances. The introduction of fines, demotions, and confinement reflected a shift toward less violent means of maintaining discipline. These penalties allowed for a nuanced response to disobedience, permitting commanders to exercise discretion when determining appropriate consequences. Such measures were often viewed as more humane, fostering a sense of loyalty rather than instilling fear alone. This region of military life increasingly relied on the psychology of leadership and the importance of morale, recognizing that a motivated soldier was more valuable than one cowed by the threat of violence. As the Roman Empire expanded, this evolution corresponded with the complex dynamics of diverse military units. Different cultures brought varying attitudes toward discipline, influencing the effectiveness of punishment. The fading company of brutal methods gave way to a more structured system, aimed at reinforcing commitment while minimizing the potential for dissent. The gradual shift reflected a broader understanding of human behavior within the ranks, emphasizing cohesion and unity over mere compliance through terror. Fustuarium served as a stark reminder of the consequences of failure within the Roman military culture. This method of punishment, executed in a highly structured manner, underscored the importance of discipline among the ranks. The act itself was not merely a tool of fear, but rather a complex narrative interwoven with the ideals of honor and accountability. In this environment, the threat of such retribution created a sense of urgency among the sentries, compelling them to adhere to their duties with unwavering focus. Within the battleground, the presence of Fustuarium influenced strategies and decision-making processes. Commanders often relied on a combination of psychological tactics and the looming shadow of potential punishment to maintain order. This practice fostered an atmosphere where each soldier understood the weight of their actions, reinforcing a collective responsibility toward their comrades. As the Roman legions advanced, this principle extended beyond mere punishment. The culture cultivated through Fustuarium emphasized resilience and the necessity for solidarity during times of crisis. Bonds forged in the face of potential repercussions created a deeper allegiance to the unit, transcending individual motivations. The legacy of these practices resonates in the annals of military history, showcasing the intricate balance between authority and personal integrity within one of history's most formidable fighting forces. The connection between Fustuarium and civilian law reveals a complex interplay of discipline and societal norms. In ancient Rome, the severity of punishment for military transgressions often mirrored the judicial structures governing civilian life. It served as a stark reminder of the expectations placed upon individuals, both in uniform and in the broader citizenry. This region's governance relied heavily on a clear delineation of responsibilities and consequences, ensuring that order prevailed within the ranks and among the populace. The application of Fustuarium underscored the notion that actions carried weighty repercussions, reinforcing the idea that loyalty and duty were paramount. In moments of crisis, the military's influence seeped into civilian governance, shaping laws that echoed the same principles of accountability. The ramifications of failing to adhere to these codes were not confined to the battlefield. They permeated society, fostering an environment where integrity was valued above all. In these ruins, remnants of legal frameworks established by Roman authorities can still be traced, revealing a society deeply aware of the balance between punishment and justice. Such historical practices laid the groundwork for future legal systems, illustrating how military discipline influenced broader societal order. The echoes of these ancient laws resonate through time, reminding contemporary civilizations of the delicate equilibrium between authority and the moral obligations of its citizens. Fustuarium emerged as a stark representation of Roman identity, reflecting the values deeply embedded within the fabric of society. It served as both a punitive measure and a tool for reinforcing communal responsibility among citizens. The consequence of failing in duty was not merely personal, but echoed throughout the entire community, emphasizing the interconnectedness of individual actions and collective standing. This practice shaped perceptions of citizenship, creating a framework in which loyalty was paramount. A soldier's dedication to duty was a testament to one's character and, by extension, one's worthiness of Roman citizenship. The ramifications of neglecting this duty extended beyond the individual, instilling a sense of shared accountability among all members of the military and civilian populations alike. Such measures also reinforced the ideals of discipline and honor, grounding the very concept of being Roman in the realities of sacrifice and commitment. The legacies of these practices are evident in the cultural memory of later generations. They influenced the evolution of military codes and civic duties, resonating through the annals of history as societies grappled with the balance of power and responsibility. The moral imperatives dictated by Fustuarium continue to invite reflection on the complexities of governance and the expectations placed upon citizens. This historical phenomenon underscores the enduring influence of ancient Rome on contemporary notions of identity and civic engagement. The use of Fustuarium in various military campaigns highlights the severity with which discipline was enforced among Roman soldiers. This method, a brutal form of punishment, was employed primarily against those who exhibited cowardice or disobedience in the face of conflict. The implications of such measures extended beyond mere punishment. They served as a stark warning to others within the ranks. Through the application of this discipline, commanders aimed to maintain cohesion and morale among troops, ensuring that each soldier understood the dire consequences of failing to uphold their duties. In instances of retreat or failure to engage the enemy, Fustuarium became a tool of psychological warfare. The fear of facing one's comrades as an unwilling participant often outweighed the instinct for self-preservation. This created an atmosphere in which loyalty and bravery were not only encouraged but enforced through the potential for severe repercussions. In notable campaigns, such as the invasion of Germania and the battles in Britannia, these harsh practices were not uncommon. Soldiers who remained steadfast in battle were often rewarded, while those who faltered faced dire consequences. The implementation of Fustuarium reflected the broader societal values of ancient Rome, wherein strength and honor were paramount. Such measures solidified a soldier's role within the military hierarchy, reinforcing the importance of discipline and unity in achieving victory on the battlefield. Fustuarium served not only as a means of enforcing discipline, but also as a powerful tool for political control within the military. The implementation of this punishment reflected deeper societal values and the need for loyalty among the ranks. In a complex political landscape, military leaders harnessed such measures to maintain authority and curb dissent. Execution of the Fustuarium often symbolized the consequences of betrayal or cowardice, providing a stark warning to others about the repercussions of disloyalty. This method of punishment functioned as a means of consolidating power, ensuring that soldiers remained committed to their commanders and the objectives of the state. The fear instilled by the Fustuarium motivated adherence to commands, creating a sense of urgency and camaraderie among troops. With the looming possibility of such a fate, soldiers were less likely to entertain thoughts of rebellion or defection. Furthermore, the public nature of the Fustuarium reinforced the legitimacy of military authority. Spectacles of punishment served as a deterrent, illustrating the dire consequences of failing to uphold one's duty. Observers, both soldiers and civilians, absorbed the message that loyalty to the military and its leaders was paramount. This strategic use of fear and discipline shaped not only individual behavior, but also the broader dynamics of power within the Roman Empire's military structure. The legacy of Fustuarium extended beyond its immediate application within the Roman military, leaving an indelible mark on subsequent historical military systems. The principles of discipline and fear, integral to this form of punishment, influenced various armies throughout the ages. Many adopted similar methods to ensure compliance and deter insubordination among troops, reflecting the necessity of maintaining order in the ranks. In medieval Europe, the echoes of Fustuarium resonated through the practices of punitive measures, such as execution by decimation. This method, wherein 1 in 10 soldiers would be executed as punishment for collective failure, mirrored the Roman approach to instilling fear. It served as a stark reminder of the consequences of failure, reinforcing the importance of loyalty and cohesion within military units. The psychological impact of such measures on soldiers became a focal point for many commanders, emphasizing the need for a balance between discipline and morale. Over time, armies recognized that while fear could compel immediate compliance, it risked undermining long-term loyalty and effectiveness. This understanding gradually led to the development of more nuanced systems of military discipline, favoring incentives alongside punitive measures. As military doctrines evolved, the legacy of Fustuarium remained a persistent thread, illustrating the complexities of authority, obedience, and the human condition within the crucible of warfare. The Fustuarium's representation in Roman art and iconography reflects its significance in the military and social psyche of the era. Various artifacts and reliefs depict scenes of punishment, capturing the gravity of transgressions within the ranks. These visual narratives serve not only as warnings, but also as reminders of the consequences of disobedience. The imagery often showcases the stark contrast between the disciplined soldier and the errant sentry, emphasizing the values of loyalty and order. Sculptures frequently illustrate the moment of Fustuarium, presenting a grim tableau where the collective accountability of the unit is portrayed. This method of representation acts as a visual codex, communicating the harsh realities of military life and the importance of maintaining cohesion. In these depictions, expressions of authority are evident, symbolizing the broader societal expectations placed upon the Roman soldier. Ceramics and mosaics also echo these themes, integrating elements of Fustuarium into everyday life, thus reinforcing the omnipresence of military discipline. Through these artistic mediums, the repercussions of failing to adhere to strict codes of conduct are immortalized, ensuring that the lessons of obedience endure beyond the battlefield. Such representations contribute to an understanding of the complexities surrounding authority, shaping the collective memory of Roman military culture. This ethical framework was deeply intertwined with practices like Fustuarium, which served as a stark reminder of the repercussions of failure. The act itself, involving the punishment of soldiers deemed cowardly or negligent, highlighted the severe expectations placed upon the military ranks. Such measures were not simply punitive, they were educational, reinforcing an unwavering commitment to duty and loyalty. Within this region of military discipline, the consequences of failing to uphold these values were publicly displayed, instilling a fear of shame among the ranks. It ensured that soldiers remained vigilant, embodying the ideals of bravery and sacrifice. These practices reflected a broader societal expectation that valor was paramount, and that any deviation from this norm could lead to catastrophic repercussions, not only for the individual, but also for fellow soldiers and the legions as a whole. The execution of Fustuarium served multiple purposes, from deterring future acts of cowardice to maintaining strict order within the troops. It reinforced a collective identity rooted in honor, emphasizing the belief that individual actions resonated throughout the entire military cohort. This understanding helped shape a culture that valued discipline, loyalty, and the unwavering commitment to the Roman state. Psychological profiles of soldiers who endured Fustuarium reveal a complex interplay of fear, loyalty, and resilience. Those subjected to the cudgel's toll often grappled with profound psychological stress stemming from the threat of communal punishment. This atmosphere cultivated an intense sense of cohesion among the ranks, as soldiers recognized their survival hinged on collective adherence to the rigid standards imposed by their superiors. In this environment, individuals developed a heightened awareness of their own actions and the ramifications they held for their comrades. The looming possibility of Fustuarium fostered an acute vigilance, compelling soldiers to monitor not only their behavior, but also the behavior of those around them. This scrutiny created an unspoken bond, reinforcing the idea that each soldier's fate was intricately tied to the integrity of the unit. The psychological impact of such discipline varied significantly among soldiers, While some embraced the harsh reality, viewing it as a necessary sacrifice for the greater good, others found themselves grappling with anxiety and resentment. The ever-present threat of punishment led to a paradoxical loyalty, where devotion to the Roman state coexisted with an underlying dread of the consequences of failure. This duality shaped their identities, creating a narrative of strength interwoven with vulnerability, encapsulating the complex human experience within the military framework of ancient Rome. Fustuarium served as a grim reminder of the consequences of failure within the Roman ranks. This harsh disciplinary measure was not merely punitive, it evolved as a reflection of the broader shifts in military tactics and societal expectations. The cudgel, wielded by comrades, symbolized both retribution and reinforcement of solidarity among soldiers. In an era defined by expanding frontiers and dynamic warfare, it became imperative for the legionnaires to maintain unwavering discipline and cohesion. The changing nature of Roman warfare demanded adaptability, with enemies increasingly employing guerrilla tactics and unconventional strategies. This environment necessitated not only physical prowess but also psychological resilience among the ranks. Fustuarium, in its stark severity, highlighted the expectations placed upon soldiers to meet the challenges of evolving battlefields. It acted as a catalyst for the collective psyche of these warriors, reinforcing their commitment to duty and each other. Failures on the battlefield could lead to dire consequences, not solely for the individual, but for the entire unit. The fear of Fustuarium loomed, intertwining with the motivations that drove men into the fray. As these soldiers faced the rigors of combat, the weight of their choices echoed through the annals of history, shaping the legacy of military service and the collective memory of a civilization that thrived on discipline and honor. The consequences of such harsh disciplinary measures inevitably extended beyond the immediate sphere of the soldiers. Military logistics and supply chains adapted to accommodate the realities of Fustuarium, demanding a meticulous approach to provisioning and resource allocation. This region, where the threat of punishment loomed ever-present, required commanders to ensure that supplies were consistently available, maintaining both morale and operational readiness. The implementation of Fustuarium necessitated the establishment of robust systems for tracking personnel and resources. Each unit was compelled to keep detailed records, not only of the soldiers' performance, but also of their supplies. These logistics became intertwined with the very fabric of military strategy, where the effectiveness of a campaign hinged on timely delivery and proper distribution of essential goods. The psychological aspect of this execution method also influenced supply routes. Soldiers, acutely aware of their precarious standing for food, often exhibited an enhanced sense of urgency in their duties, directly affecting the efficiency of logistical operations. Commanders keenly understood that a well-fed and properly equipped force was paramount to avoiding the consequences of failure. Over time, the repercussions of Fustuarium transcended individual punishment, reshaping the operational landscape of the Roman military, ensuring that discipline was not only enforced but integrated into the very architecture of military supply chains. The integration of Fustuarium into military operations profoundly influenced Roman conquests. Each campaign, marked by its strategic precision, relied on a disciplined force, where adherence to orders was paramount. Instances of insubordination could undermine the entire structure, leading to catastrophic failures on the battlefield. The presence of Fustuarium served as a deterrent, ensuring that soldiers understood the severe consequences of disloyalty or negligence. In the context of military engagements, the enforcement of Fustuarium reinforced a collective ethos among troops. It imbued them with a sense of unity, as shared consequences bound them together. The knowledge that failure to comply with commands could result in collective punishment fostered an environment where loyalty and discipline were paramount. This sense of camaraderie was vital when facing the formidable forces of rival factions. The strategic implications of Fustuarium extended beyond immediate battlefield conduct. It shaped the methodologies of logistics and supply, as military leaders understood the necessity of maintaining morale and order. The effective management of resources was critical. Thus, the threat of Fustuarium was instrumental in regulating the distribution of supplies, ensuring that every soldier remained accountable. As conquests expanded, the framework of Fustuarium adapted, becoming a fundamental aspect of the Roman military's operational philosophy, integrating discipline into the very fabric of their expansive empire. The mechanisms of Fustuarium became increasingly vital during periods of crisis, in moments of heightened tension. When the threat of enemy engagement loomed, the prospect of punishment served as a deterrent against cowardice and insubordination. This societal structure ensured that each soldier understood the consequences of failure, creating a resilient front against adversity. The presence of Fustuarium reinforced a culture of vigilance, as the repercussions of abandoning one's post could lead to dire outcomes, not only for the individual, but for the entire unit. In the heat of battle, when chaos threatened to dismantle order, the awareness of Fustuarium would often restore focus. Soldiers were compelled to adhere to their roles, contributing to a cohesive response that was essential for survival. The grim reality of enforced discipline acted as a unifying force, ensuring that every soldier remained committed to the collective mission. This approach was particularly observable in instances where morale faltered. When faced with overwhelming odds, the fear of Fustuarium encouraged steadfastness, compelling soldiers to confront their fears rather than retreat. Such discipline proved crucial in maintaining operational effectiveness, allowing legions to withstand challenges and emerge from crises with a renewed sense of purpose. Loyalty to one another and to the empire was thus reinforced through the relentless enforcement of this ancient practice. Fustuarium occupies a critical place in the historical narrative of Roman military history, serving as a testament to the stringent measures employed to maintain discipline. This method of execution, reserved for those deemed irredeemably faithless, instilled a palpable fear within the ranks. In an army where cohesion was paramount, the consequences of betrayal were severe, reinforcing the significance of unwavering loyalty. The implementation of Fustuarium was not merely punitive. It reflected the broader values of Roman society, where duty and honor were exalted. The execution often involved a group punishment, a collective act that underscored the importance of unity. Such practices ensured that the soldiers remained vigilant, aware that their individual actions could lead to dire repercussions for their comrades. In military campaigns, the specter of Fustuarium loomed large, shaping the mindset of soldiers as they faced the realities of warfare. The threat of such an execution encouraged adherence to commands and reinforced the hierarchy crucial for operational success. This cultural framework permeated the legions, influencing not only conduct in battle, but also interactions among soldiers in times of peace. The Fustuarium, through its brutal efficiency, thus became an integral aspect of Roman military doctrine, a chilling reminder of the consequences of failure to adhere to the ideals of loyalty and discipline. that defined the empire. The Haberostras. The significance of Fustuarium extends beyond mere military discipline, serving as a lens through which the complexities of Roman social hierarchies can be examined. It illustrated the stark divisions within the ranks, distinguishing between the valorous and those deemed unworthy. This punishment functioned as a stark reminder of the consequences of disloyalty, reinforcing the prevailing social order that prioritized allegiance to the empire above individual aspirations. Within this structure, the repercussions of failure were not evenly distributed. High-ranking officers often faced a different set of expectations, their positions affording them a degree of protection from the full weight of Fustuarium. Conversely, the common soldier, already on precarious footing, found themselves vulnerable to the harsh realities of this decree. Such disparities highlighted the intricate balance of power and accountability that defined the Roman military. The ritualistic nature of Fustuarium further cemented its role in shaping collective identity. It was not merely a tool of punishment, but a mechanism of social cohesion, binding soldiers together in a shared understanding of acceptable behavior. As they marched under the banner of Rome, the specter of Fustuarium loomed, a constant reminder of the societal values that governed their lives. This cultural instrument thus offers invaluable insight into the broader dynamics at play within Roman society, revealing the underlying principles of loyalty, discipline, and hierarchy. The decline of Fustuarium marks a significant shift within military discipline and societal values. As the Roman Empire expanded, the complexities of governance and military engagement increased. This evolution rendered traditional practices less effective in maintaining order among diverse legions. Factors such as shifting loyalties, external pressures from barbarian tribes, and the advent of new military tactics contributed substantially to its waning authority. The introduction of more sophisticated command structures transformed the relationship between soldiers and their leaders. Increasingly, generals prioritized loyalty based on charisma and shared purpose, rather than reliance on punitive measures. This transition diminished the effectiveness of Fustuarium as a deterrent against disobedience. The psychological aspects of warfare began to overshadow physical punishment, emphasizing motivation and morale over harsh discipline. Social changes within the empire also played a crucial role in the practice's decline. The growing integration of non-Roman soldiers into the legions introduced cultural variations that challenged established norms. This integration led to differing attitudes regarding authority and discipline, eroding the previously uniform application of the Fustuarium. As the empire faced mounting challenges in the 3rd century, the decline of Fustuarium reflected broader societal transformations. The Roman military's adaptation to new realities illustrates the complex interplay between tradition and change, shaping the evolution of one of history's most formidable forces. The influence of Fustuarium on military reforms during the late Empire marked a significant shift in disciplinary measures. This practice, which involved the punishment of soldiers through the use of cudgels, served as a stark reminder of the expectations placed upon those in service. Consequences for failure in duty became a vital component of maintaining order and discipline within the ranks. This method not only enforced accountability, but also reflected the broader societal values of the time. As military leaders sought to address the challenges facing their forces, the implementation of Fustuarium highlighted the necessity for reforms. The harshness of such discipline prompted discussions on alternative strategies that balanced punishment with motivation. This period saw an exploration of morale-building initiatives, emphasizing leadership and cohesion among units. Efforts to enhance communication within the ranks began to take precedence over purely punitive measures. The impact of Fustuarium resonated beyond immediate discipline. It contributed to an evolving military doctrine that prioritized adaptability and resilience, while the cudgel itself remained a tool of enforcement. The dialogue surrounding its application fostered innovative approaches to leadership. This evolution of military discipline in ancient Rome is scrutinized by historians and chroniclers, revealing a complex interplay of fear and loyalty. The Fustuarium, a punishment reserved for those deemed cowardly, served as a stark reminder of the consequences of abandoning one's post. Accounts depict a methodical process where soldiers faced the relentless blows of their comrades, a grim spectacle that echoed through the ranks. Roman historians often presented this practice as a necessary measure, illustrating the stringent expectations placed upon soldiers. It functioned not only as punishment, but also as a means of reinforcing solidarity among troops. The act of execution, while brutal, was understood as a tool for maintaining order within the legions. Chroniclers like Tacitus and Livy documented these events meticulously, reflecting on the psychological impact such punitive measures had on the collective mindset of the army. The Fustuarium embodies the harsh realities of Roman military life, contrasting with the glory often associated with their conquests. It highlights the delicate balance between discipline and morale. This phenomenon, while brutal in execution, reveals insights into the values that shaped Roman society and its military ethos. The legacy of this punishment continues to influence interpretations of leadership and accountability in historical contexts, leaving a marked impression on the annals of military history. The examination of Fustuarium reveals its profound implications for modern military discourse. Concepts of discipline and accountability resonate throughout military training programs, where the specter of past punitive measures informs contemporary practices. This historical punishment serves as a cautionary tale, illustrating the potential consequences of failure to uphold duty and commitment. In discussions around leadership, the Fustuarium emphasizes the necessity of maintaining morale and cohesion within ranks. Leaders often reflect on the harshness of this ancient practice when formulating policies to address misconduct, recognizing that fear can easily undermine trust among personnel. Instead, there is a focus on fostering environments that prioritize constructive feedback and personal responsibility. Drawing lessons from the rigid structures of ancient Rome, the psychological ramifications of Fustuarium extend into modern strategies, particularly in the context of team dynamics and individual accountability. The importance of clear communication and understanding of expectations emerges as central themes in military training. This legacy shapes the way leaders approach ethical dilemmas, ensuring that decisions reflect not only operational objectives, but also the well-being of their troops. Revisiting such historical practices allows for a nuanced understanding of authority and the delicate balance between discipline and empathy. The Fustuarium remains a reference point, urging modern military leaders to reconsider the impact of their decisions on the individuals entrusted to their command. The evolution of military punishments following the fall of Rome reflects a significant shift in the philosophies of discipline and leadership. This region, once characterized by the harshness of the Fustuarium, gradually transitioned toward methods that emphasized rehabilitation rather than sheer retribution. The lessons learned from the consequences of severe penalties led to the reformation of military codes across various civilizations. These changes can be observed in the adoption of alternative disciplinary measures, such as confinement or demotion, which aimed to maintain order while preserving the morale of the troops. The role of leadership evolved, with an increasing emphasis on the psychological well-being of soldiers. They became viewed as integral components of a cohesive unit rather than mere instruments of warfare. In the centuries that followed, the influence of Enlightenment thinkers began to permeate military doctrine. The notion that a well-trained soldier is more effective than a coerced one gained traction. This perspective fostered environments where trust and mutual respect became paramount. The remnants of ancient practices lingered, but with a renewed focus on justice and fairness, the military apparatus sought to balance authority with compassion. The gradual shift in punitive measures reshaped the very foundation of military engagement, establishing frameworks still relevant in contemporary armed forces. The evolution continues to inform discussions about discipline in modern contexts. The influence of Fustuarium extends beyond the confines of Roman military strategy, permeating various facets of cultural and ethical discourse. This practice, a brutal method of enforcing discipline, illustrates the lengths to which authority will go to maintain order and compliance. The societal implications become evident when examining how such punitive measures shaped both the perceptions of military duty and the moral responsibilities of those in power. In contemporary military institutions, remnants of these ancient practices can be discerned in the ongoing debates regarding the balance between discipline and human rights. The stark realities of Fustuarium serve as a cautionary tale about the potential consequences of extreme enforcement measures. This region's historical narratives have fostered a complex understanding of loyalty and punishment, influencing literature, philosophy, and legal frameworks. The cultural resonance of Fustuarium also manifests in the arts, where themes of obedience and rebellion are explored through various mediums. Symbolically, it represents a struggle between individual agency and collective responsibility. As societies evolve, the legacy of such practices prompts reflection on justice and the ethical treatment of individuals under authority. The lasting impact remains a testament to how historical militaristic traditions inform modern perspectives on governance, discipline, and moral integrity in both military and civilian spheres. The echoes of these ancient decisions continue to shape contemporary thought,